Hey guys, and welcome back to the Behind the Play podcast brought to you by 1IQ Sports. I'm Will, that's DJ, and it's spring training baseball. We're back. This is our first time gracing the podcast since Vladimir Guerrero broke our hearts and broke my immune system. So,
Seriously.
Vladdy didn't sign and I got hit with the flu, so, I blame him. But we're back. We're here. We're about a week into spring training. We've seen some goods. We've seen some bads. We've seen some new stuff, like the ABS system. It's been a lot to unpack, but I'm already so over spring training, and I just kind of want to go into the season.
Oh, man. Yeah.
It's just spring training is cool for a week, and then the gimmick wears off so quickly.
Yes.
Genuinely, I don't give a fuck about Stuart Baroa at bats in March. Now, in September, that's a different story. But in March, I don't care, I don't.
Yeah. It definitely wears off, especially knowing that you have a month to you kind of just want meaningful baseball because we've seen in the past players play out of their mind in spring training and then they're just Chris Davis in the regular season. So it's to me, it's hard. It's sick to see Scherzer in a Blue Jays uniform. Insane. Crazy.
The debuts, you see, your returns of Vladdy and Bo, but you see your Santander debut, Hoffman's first time pitching as a Blue Jay, Jimenez even had it. That was pretty cool seeing Jimenez in a Blue Jay uniform. But there was just seeing Scherzer dress up was
that was the number one.
That was something I never thought I'd see in my life, and I'm glad I have. But it's the gimmick wears off. I can only care so much about a mile straw at bat before I drive myself into the wall.
It's hard to watch.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few prospects you outline going into spring training where you're like, hey, I want to watch your at bats. But then it's you get in and Patrick Sharp's or Jacob Shark or whatever the fuck that catcher is, or Edison Paulino's hitting in the 8th inning and it's 3-2 and you don't know the guy on the mound. You're just what am I even doing here still?
Yeah. And then there's another factor to it. It's how you want to see these guys perform, but to what extent you've seen Lo Perfito almost injure himself instantly into spring training. It's what level do you want to see these guys play baseball at this part of the spring training?
It's cool. The first home run, super cool. The first Vladdy home run or that bow bomb on Sunday, I think it was.
Shit.
The thing that disappeared into the city. Those are cool. Yeah. But I don't want to see him hit 10 home runs in spring training. Hell, I don't even want to see him hit 5. It gets to the point where it's just save it for the regular season. Go. Save the runs, save the wins. Just get ready. I don't know. We're still at the point where it's when you go on the road trip 2 hours down south or an hour out somewhere to fucking Lakeland, and you get 9 times out of 10 the regulars don't even go. So it's just well, you're watching the New Hampshire Fisher Cats fucking play God knows who. The Philadelphia Phillies all-star roster, and you're well, what's the point?
Especially, during the end, it's maybe I don't know. It's more important for pitchers, obviously.
Yeah. That's why I put more into pitchers, watching pitchers, than I do hitters. It's been a week. The way they're going to go about their at-bats in May is going to be different than the way they went around their at-bats last week. So, it's cool watching them get into that process. I do much rather watch Barrios go 2 2/3 or Scherzer go 3 innings or Hoffy go an inning. I think the only player I'm waiting for on a debut now is Nick Sandlin. And that's how you know you're low in the barrel, is when you're waiting for Nick Sandlin to make his Blue Jay debut. So, I'd like to know what happened. Where the fuck is he?
It's nice to be on
his pain.
Yeah, it is nice to see players back on the field, though. That's because you start to get that tickle in your throat. You know,
Hey.
baseball's just around the corner. Oh, sorry, Will. No, but it is nice to see. It just gets boring fast. But you did have a concern about a player. Do you want to bring that up?
Yeah, I'll bring that up in a second. I also want to ridicule some poverty
Ooh.
franchises. It's
Oh.
spring training, and I get the
Hmm.
games mean nothing. But
Zero.
how the fuck in 2025 can we not either A, broadcast every spring training game? You're telling me you can't bring one camera somewhere and just steal, like,
In
hell,
2025, yes.
like, have Ernie Clement do a play by play on the day? I don't care. How do you not or do the natural sounds? How can you not have a broadcast of a game?
Even a
But if
radio
you're not going
broadcast.
to broadcast the game, how can you, Baltimore, not even have a StatCast in your poverty ass spring training complex? The game against Baltimore, you could have spewed some random bullshit and everyone's got to take your word for it. I could have said Addison Barger hit a 140-mile-an-hour single, and you just got to take the word for it because there's not even a StatCast to show you what it looked like. That's insane. I get the games mean nothing, but we just went 6 months without baseball, and you're going to tell me you can't put a camera in that training facility for other games when I know today Baltimore broadcast their game against Boston, and it was in Baltimore's complex. Tell me you couldn't get a camera out there for the game against the Blue Jays?
That is weird that they wouldn't do it for a multitude of reasons. One, you're a professional franchise, and two, don't you watch footage at least like a little bit?
Yeah.
Like, don't you go over certain things? Like, it's kind of confusing how they wouldn't have that, especially in 2025 where technology is everything, by the way.
Like, I
It
get
makes
maybe not putting it on the TV broadcast if you can't get the announcers, but I remember, I think it was 2021, the Jays had like that natural, like MLB.com natural sound broadcast.
Yeah.
I remember 10 years ago when we had every game of spring training broadcast. Is that so hard to ask for?
And during the day, you'd think like there's not, because usually it's pretty early, there's not that much fighting for TV time.
Like, I don't care what the Dallas Stars and Buffalo Sabres did last night. Show
Yeah,
me the Blue Jays.
exactly.
So that's what I wanted to shout out first, was that I am not a fan of not being able to watch my team for at least 5 innings. After the 5 innings, I don't care. Kill the broadcast. I don't care.
That's fair enough.
Give me 5
Fair.
innings. 5 innings. But yeah, I wanted to speak on a player that's like, I don't know if I want to say like I'm disappointed in, because it's been a week. I think a lot of this, I have 4 or 5 yays and like, but it's been a week and that list is going to change by tomorrow.
Right.
One of the players I was hoping to see a little bit more from was Loperfido. Some of the results have been nice. The process to getting said results is a little, he still struggles lefty on lefty, which totally get. Lefty on lefty's tough. But he struggles on a righty on lefty when the righty keeps it on the outer half, because I feel like the bat doesn't go all the way through. So I just like to see more coverage of the plate. I don't really think it means too much, like what he's hitting or anything right now. Just I want to see better coverage of said plate. I don't even care if he hits it hard. He could bloop 60-mile-an-hour squibblers over the shortstop's head. I just want to see better coverage of the plate. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I haven't watched too much of him in spring, but going back to last season, I feel like that was a big issue. Just his swing plane was very awkward and it would change. I don't know. He seems like he's not comfortable and he makes too many changes in my perspective. Like he just never feels like he's sticking to one thing. And I don't know. That's just not a good thing for any hitter. let alone a lefty that can't hit righties. I don't know. We'll find out. I mean, there's high hopes for this guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of pressure on his shoulders, I think, to be,
left fielder number one.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. It's going to be interesting, but we can't. But it's only been a week. So, who are we to say? I mean, he just came off probably a few vacations, eating with the family.
Yeah, I mean, like Miles Straw is hitting close to 500 right now, so like that's how you know. Yeah. Don't buy into anything that happens spring training wise. Funny enough, I do have Loperfido as a yay, just because like the results are there.
Mm-hmm.
I just better ABs, and I think that comes with spring. It's been a week. It comes with time. By the end of the March, going into the season. In the regular season, Loperfido is going to be a well-oiled machine. It's just a shame that another left field candidate is performing at an also very high rate that I know a lot of people are big fans of, myself included. And that's Alan Roden. He was hitting close to 500. I think he's closer now to about 325, 330-ish. Sick. It doesn't really matter. Again, it doesn't really matter. It's a week, but,
I know. I just said that a lot of the rookies started off really hot. I was getting a lot of notifications that like a lot of doubles, a lot of hard contact is the number one thing I have seen so far.
I think Alan Roden's eye has been like one of the things like, whoa, I love it. Dude does not chase. I've never seen a kid. I say kid as if he's like not older than me. But like I've never seen a prospect go into even a spring training game and like take a gutsy 3-2 walk with like a pitch at the knees and get the call. Like it was like his eye is impressive. He hits lefties, he hits righties, he pulls the ball. Dude, he ripped a ball off a crochet. A guy who throws 98 in as a lefty. So I think Alan Roden, I don't expect him to make opening day roster. Just logistically. I wouldn't be shocked if he's May or June call up, I would say. I think he's right there. He might benefit from, like, he's only played about 50, 60 games in AAA. So he might benefit from another month there before coming up.
I agree.
Just to get a few more regular ABs. And then we'll see what we got going in the outfield. See who's doing what and where.
I agree. I think there's still you have to see a bit more first. And again, it's the same thing with the pitchers. They're not going to give you their best stuff off the start. You're not going to be comfortable facing. You're not going to be facing someone that's going to pitch opening day. They're not going to have their best stuff. So I think some more AAA, because there is some dogs in AAA. See how he does for a month if he's hanging and we're struggling, because we did struggle mightily last year to start the season. There's probably going to be a spot for him to slide up.
And you got to think too, like there's going to be a couple starting pitchers who probably start the year in AAA because of injury that maybe Alan Roden can see early on. That can only help because I mean, there's no way all 30 teams are going to have all 5 starters healthy, not doing a little bit of rehab at least. So there's that. Another yay I have is Aurelvis Martinez.
He's been a dog.
Dogging it, bro. He's hitting the ball hard. Hitting the ball the other way, too. Like, power to all sides of the field. He's got a home run and some doubles.
Opposite field home run, right?
Yeah, he hit it to right field. Like, second day in. First day in. It was against the Yankees. Dog. Dude, he's a Yankee killer. That alone should put him on the opening day roster. The defense, to say it's questionable would be pretty nice to him. Right. He's probably a DH, but who cares? If he DHs and hits 20 home runs this year, I don't care what he's doing. Dude, like, the Jays need home runs. If he's DHing and hitting I'm all for it. Or Elvis Martinez to the moon.
Batting 8th, 7th, 8th behind like Vladdy and Santander. Imagine
Hell,
those
he could be
three.
hitting 6th on opening day,
In our
in my
lineup,
opinion.
yeah, you're right. Yeah, in our
Like, you could
lineup.
realistically say you roll a lineup of like Bo Bichette leading off, Will Wagner hitting second. I haven't really figured out positions yet, so won't that. But like Vladdy, Santander, then you get like Springer 5, or Kirk 5. Like, I'm chill with Kirk 5.
Right.
And then you throw like, you know, or Relvis or Springer 6th, the other one 7th, and then like one of Jimenez and Varsho in there. Just figure it out.
I really hope they put Bo starting, like
Bo or
leading
Wags.
off.
I think one of those two takes the first pitch opening day.
I really hope it's not Springer.
I don't see it being Springer. He hasn't done anything to like. Again, early in spring, we'll see what his numbers are like later in the year, later in spring. But it's just like
last season too.
Yeah, like Bo profile's better right now as a leadoff guy. Sure. He's getting around on the ball. He's got a sick eye. Springer's better lower down in the lineup, I think, because I think pitchers are going to be like, he's in 6 now. You know, maybe the mentality isn't there lower down the lineup, and maybe you could sneak a couple. I know that's probably not how professionals think, but it's how I'm thinking they're going to think. So, stuff it. It's just, I don't know. There's about 2 spots open, and there's about 3 guys who could realistically, 4 guys even, who could take those spots. Like, you could argue Wagner. Like, you could argue almost 3 spots, but I'd say DH and left field are probably your open spots. And whichever, like, say Springer and Santander both play the outfield and Varsho's in there, well, that leaves the DH spot open for a guy like Wagner. But then, like, you also want to get Relvis in there, and then, like, Lopervito's in there. So maybe you throw a guy like Wagner or Relvis at third, but now Ernie's not in the lineup. It's an all right problem to have. I feel like we have almost one too many guys who deserve to start, which isn't bad. It can facilitate a trade later in the year if the Jays are indeed going for it.
And it makes spring training watchable a little bit because you have to see.
Watching the battles is fun.
Exactly. And Will Wagner impressed me last year, and I think he impressed a lot of people in the organization. So that definitely helps his case because he again had a really good eye.
Yeah.
He has a really good bat to ball.
And if he could hit lefties, a teensy bit better.
Yeah.
I like that we're giving him reps at third base and first base. Seems to be 2 holes that the Jays are potentially going to have next year. So it's nice to give him a couple reps here and there. I'd prefer him at third base, I think, over first base, just because I'd like to keep a certain player forever.
Yeah.
But, you know, beggars can't be choosers.
Right.
Yeah, and then the last guy that I have in my A's, I have another guy who, like, almost I want to add, but he just hasn't thrown enough. That's Yarbrough. Like, I'd add him, but, like, I need another game. He's been a dog. Hoff's been a dog, too, but we expected him to be a dog. Brendan Little, no one really knew. You know, like, I know we penciled him in to be the lefty. We still don't really know what he was doing, and he's been a dog. He's my last yay right now. I like Brendan Little, man. I think he's good. I don't know if he's 7th inning or later good. Time will tell. But I like I don't.
Yeah.
When you have a bullpen as bad as last year, you know what it's like to feel uneasy when a pitcher comes in. I don't have that feeling when Brendan Little goes in right now. I get it a little bit more with Yarbrough, but I think that's just because he's a finesse pitcher and you just don't know what he's going to do each day.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of guys that are going to be fighting for that like extra bullpen spot. I don't know. Late inning is kind of figured out in my mind.
Yeah.
I think it's like if we need a sixth inning guy,
I think
seventh
there's
inning, like
one
maybe.
spot in the bullpen open, I would say.
Yeah.
Like I'd say Hoffman's closer. That's easy,
Right.
simple.
Yeah.
Chad Green's probably the setup. Yimmy's probably the other setup. Then I'd probably throw like it's probably Swanson and Little as like the mid relief guys with
The
Sandlin.
hinge, I guess.
And then Yariel's like the long man. And then I'd say like Yarbrough is fighting it out. I don't really know who he'd be competing with. If it's like Josh Walker or someone else competing for like that final spot, it helps that I guess Walker's also a lefty, but Yarbrough being a lefty that the Jays saw last year definitely helps his chance. I like him. I want him to be on the opening day roster. Amir Garrett got hurt, so at least I think he got hurt. So yeah, I feel like there's one spot and Yarbrough's almost locked it up.
Yeah, but it feels nice to have that figured out. Like they did really good with our bullpen to where the structure is there.
Lizardo Estrada is also pretty sick. I forgot to mention that. Lizardo Estrada,
I actually didn't see him.
He's been the StatCast numbers. I haven't seen him pitch. I've just seen the StatCast numbers. They look pretty good. Yeah, I mean our biggest worry going into this year was the bullpen, and it's looking theoretically on paper.
Yeah, on paper, structure.
We're looking all right. We'll see what the numbers look like. Yeah. I have a few nays. Davis Schneider is an honorable yay. He's almost there. He's had a really good spring so far. Same with Miles Straw, but like I just don't like Miles Straw after the trade. So
for me,
it just kind of sucks for Miles Straw.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone really like. I think he's going to be one of those guys you forget about in 2 years. But anyway, I think Schneid has a lot to prove this year. Like a lot.
Yeah. He's definitely on the outside looking in.
Yeah, he could find his way on a different team easily.
Yeah.
If he doesn't figure it out.
There's someone else who will take him as a starter. You're telling me he couldn't start on a team as bad as the White Sox?
Or the there's definitely a place for him.
There's places for him.
And he's got skill too. Like he's a good.
I don't want to give up on a guy who was like a above league average hitter, but like
yeah, I mean, he's had spurts, you know.
Yeah, this is the do or do not league. There is no try, according to Josh Donaldson.
I love that.
I have a 4 as / too early in spring. The first one's Tyler Heineman. And if anyone's like, oh, but he's just the backup catcher, I watched a highlight of him swing at a ball that hit him in the dick. So, no, he's not just the backup catcher. Okay? He's an The backup catcher situation sucks. Christian Bethancourt, not it. Tyler Heineman, not it. I don't even know who the hell is there. Not it. I just sign Yasmani Grandal. Call it a day. Give him league minimum and a potato chip bag and tell him he's, make sure he's got sunflower seeds for the 110 games that he sits on the bench.
Yeah, I don't think the Blue Jays thought that through, like the backup catcher situation, because really, you think about it, the position is so dry right now, in my opinion, especially for availability.
I forget who they had at the end of last year before they DFA'd said person and grabbed Tyler Heineman. But, I thought that person was kind of a lock to stick around for the year, but I was proven wrong on the very last weekend of the season.
But yeah, I did see that. I did see the backup. Twitter was going crazy on him this season.
I don't remember who that is, though, is the issue. I'm going to have to go back and look through 2023 games, 2024 games. What fucking year is it? Another one I have is Addison Barger. Just the swings haven't been good. The results haven't been good. The process hasn't been there. So that's upsetting. But
he's just a free swinger. We knew that. He reminds me of, I don't want to shit on him too much, but it's like Javi Baez.
Yeah, like he has his moments. Don't get me wrong.
They both do.
But like,
He wants to murder the ball every time.
Yeah, it's just it hasn't always been there to do per se. So that's upsetting at times.
But if he figures out like plate discipline and like, not always hitting with square, power swing, he could be a good player. I mean, you see the freaking speed the ball comes off his bat, and he's got like serious talent, and we've always knew that, but just he's trying to do too much, and I feel like that's a little common in like up and coming rookies nowadays. They just want to do too much with the ball when really you just gotta make contact first and worry about your power second. Which we've seen from Will Wagner and a couple of the other guys that have impressed you so far. It's like a contact first approach instead of just swinging out of your socks and hoping for the best.
Another guy who is not disappointed. I don't want to say disappointed 1 week into spring.
Yeah.
But like another ass / too early has been Jake Bloss.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I think Houston rushed him, and it kind of ruined what my expectations should be. Like I was, when I saw he'd made his debut with Houston at 23, I was under the impression we were getting a dog, like a guy who was almost polished, ready to be an everyday big leaguer. Whoa, were we ever wrong?
Yeah.
And I think that's unfair to expect of a 23-year-old. It's just, like I think he's probably still another year away, all things considered. Like I thought maybe he'd be a September call-up last year. We're probably looking at September call-up this year, which no rush. Get him polished and ready to go. I think he's got the most promise out of that trade package, personally. I don't know. It's just not everything's been there. The control's been wild. He's reminding me of Ricky Vaughn, or a little at times. He just doesn't. But the velo is up. He hit 98 against the Yankees. I think it was 90. It was nuts. Good. Yeah, it was crazy. So like the velo's there. The control has been there. The control hasn't been there. He's been getting some whiffs. I don't think he's been hit super hard. I think I just expected a guy who's going to take the next step, and I don't know if he's quite yet at that step. Again, I'm a week into spring. I could change. The last one was Will Wagner. Mostly the results that haven't been there for me for Wagner. Just hasn't been there. I thought some of the ABs and the processes were not the best, but I came off surgery and whatever. Had a good game against the Yankees, but a few 3-pitch, what are you doing? And then he got the Yankees game and he daddied Garrett Cole around a bit. So I was kind of ready to take him off. I looked at the numbers; they weren't as good as I thought they were. Again, a week into spring training, those numbers probably look different than when I last saw him. Anyways.
He's honestly one of my favorites for this year. I really like his approach, and I think he's like a professional. I think he's going to be a really good player for like a long time. I don't know if he has superstar potential, but he seems like a guy that
Luis Arias is his like ceiling.
Yeah, like I really like his approach for how young he is, and I'm not worried. He's like one of those guys I'm not worried. Like he'll figure it out, and he'll be on this team.
Yeah.
This season.
He's got good bat to ball. I think if he's not this year, he'll be on the team this year. I don't know if he'll be a starter this year, but I think he will be by next year.
For sure.
I think another guy who like impressed so far has been Jimenez, but like he's kind of a quote unquote seasoned veteran, even though he is 26.
He is.
The crazy thing,
he's a bit like Vladdy though.
The thing that I love is that like you remember when like Bo had Simeon around? We were like, oh, Bo's going to learn so much from Marcus Semien. It's great to have a veteran leader, and it was great because Semien was actually older than Bo. We're doing the same thing, and like Bo's like, yeah, I love having Jimenez. I'm going to learn so much from him, and he's going to be great to have at this point in my career. Jimenez is the same age as Bo. Like, we're acting like this guy's 32. He's 26.
That's crazy.
It's insane. Like, he debuted at 21. Like, it's insane.
You kind of forget how young Bo and Vladdy came up. You know, it feels like they've been around for so long. And Jimenez, too, the same thing. He feels like he's a 32-year-old veteran guy that you bring in. But 26 is a good number.
Like, I definitely thought he was, like, 28, 29. And then they're like, yeah, they mentioned on the broadcast, like, yeah, and Jimenez 26. And I was like, no, the fuck he isn't.
Doesn't look it, I'm going to be honest.
Doesn't feel like it. I just, because, like, you know, we heard his name with the Mets 2019, 2020. And then he headlines the Lindor trade in the offseason to the 2021 season.
Yeah.
All-Star in 22. And you're going to like, whoa. And like he was 23 at that time. And I don't know, I just kind of thought he was older than what he was. But he wasn't.
Yeah.
I was wrong.
He's been in some headlines like already in his career. I mean,
technically the two trades he's been involved in have been headline deals.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
The first one was Lindor, and the second one technically was him because he's a multi-time All-Star, I think. Multi-time Gold Glove winner, at least a one-time All-Star.
Yeah. So hopefully we get it. I think he's one of those guys that could bounce
back. I think we got something, dude. I like the approach. I like the process. I like the results. I like Jimenez. I love watching him on defense. Even though he's made routine plays, he's one of those guys I could watch him take a normal ground ball that's hit right at him 1,000 times, and I would not be bored once.
It's good to see a sure hand defender in the infield again, you know?
Yeah.
There's something about it that's like, there's so much security. Like, you don't know what it's like. Well, no, you know exactly what it's like. But when Bo gets a ball hit to him, it's like, at least we have it to where like he could cover a lot of the infield, and I'm 99% sure he's gonna make the play every time, and that's a great feeling. One as a pitcher, and two as a fan. I love it.
Yeah, Andres Jimenez is just like watching him play defense is like visual porn. You know, like that is baseball porn. It is just. Yeah. You feel dirty while watching it, but you know it's making you happy. And you're like, how do I explain this to someone when I've been watching this for an hour? Him and Jack Leiter. Jack Leiter's pitching is like baseball porn, man. Like the results aren't there, but like his windup, I don't even need to watch him throw a baseball. Like just his windup, the way his mechanics.
There's a silkiness to it.
Chef's kiss, man.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Like, you know, when they like teach you mechanics in baseball?
Yeah.
They visualize Jack Leiter and Andres Jimenez.
Yeah. For sure. That's the default on MLB The Show.
Yeah. Just like, you know, when you picture a lefty swing, you picture Cano or Griffey. Same thing. Yeah. When you picture a second baseman, you picture Andres Jimenez. Fielding that ball, doing a backflip 360, throwing from his ass, just doing whatever it needs to be done. It's going to be awesome having some of the best defensive highlights paired with some of the worst defensive highlights in the season at the same time. Like, we're going to go from Jimenez diving for a ball in the hole at second base to Aurelvis Martinez letting a squibbler go between his legs. And it's going to be a thriller every time.
And both throwing it into the seats.
Oh, man, I can't wait. Jimenez is going to have like a game-saving double play that Bo's going to airmail into the 500 level, and it's going to be the emotional roller coaster that is Blue Jay baseball.
Listen, we're going for another team Gold Glove.
The real dynasty. That's all that really matters.
Yeah, and we have 2 platinum defensive players on this team. That's insane.
Our infield has 4 Gold Gloves. One of them is Vladdy. None of them are Bo or Ernie or Kirk. I guess technically 5 when Jose Barrios goes out there.
And Ernie's good.
Ernie's good. Varsho's sick defensively, obviously. Springer's like still elite defensively.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't want to hear an argument about that.
No, I agree.
Santander catches the ball sometimes.
Yeah, we'll pass on that one.
He did almost kill Stuart Baroa, but that's just
normal things in spring training.
That's just March baseball. It might even be February at that point. Yeah. Joey Loper, I do like Joey Loperfido defensively, which is why I'd prefer Santander to DH.
That makes sense. I'm okay with Santander DHing the ball.
I think he should be, but what do I know?
That's where I pencil him in at the start of the year, even when we got him DH.
I will be taking close look. I want to be real. I don't think we deserved Team Gold Glove last year, but we got it anyways. We definitely weren't the best defensive team in the American League. I will be paying attention to the Milwaukee Brewers defensively because they're the other team up for the three-peat, and I will be damned if they're the team that gets it and we don't. If we get the three-peat, hang the banner.
Listen, I think they felt
Team
bad.
Gold Glove, you put every year. Ours would be the longest. That's the real race to 28. We'll take that. We'll win it 28 times in 28 years. Yeah. Yankees won't know what hit them.
I still think they felt bad for not giving Varsho the platinum because he deserved
that was
it.
Bullshit. Cal Raleigh, suck my dick.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. What the
Raleigh?
What are we giving it to Cal Raleigh for?
The guy whose nickname is based off his ass size?
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
He is built like he has autism.
Big dumper.
What? Never mind. We won't go into that shit. Well, they have big dumpers.
Okay. I don't know how to respond to that.
You don't have to.
So, I've completely lost my train of thought here.
Defense has never been an issue. I'm never going to worry about defense. I mean, to a certain extent, it's not going to lose us games. I don't think.
Probably not. No.
It'll probably win us a couple.
Yeah, which is nice. ABS, the automatic ball and strike zone. How can you not be romantic about baseball and love? Like, you either love the ABS zone or you hate it. But if you hate it, you can't be romantic about baseball.
Yeah.
I have seen pitches get overturned by less than 5 nanometers. Numbers. Baseball love. It is beautiful. You know how exhilarating that must be as an umpire to see your call is correct by 0.4 nanometers? I would rub it in the face of everyone. I'd be like, you fucking see that? I am right. Don't ever challenge me again. And then I'd go and I'd blow the most obvious call ever and be like, don't risk it. It might be a nanometer off.
Wait, I didn't look into it just before I give my opinion. What if you get it wrong? Like, how many do you get? You get one a
two.
Game, right?
So you get 2 a game. It doesn't really matter in spring training. I don't think it's a part of the regular season. If you win,
no penalty,
you keep your challenge. If you lose, you go from 2 challenges to 1 challenge.
Okay.
So, like, a catcher can do it. A hitter can do it. Pitcher, Scherzer's done it. He was wrong by about a mile, thanks to Kirk's framing ability. But yeah, like, I think it was Soto, like, tapped the head and got his call overturned by, like, the, like, point. It was, like, 0.04. So it's, like, a nanometer. And I was like, dude, I want to put that in, like, Juan Soto's highlight reel. Like, that was, I couldn't believe it. That was awesome. That was the most exciting play I've ever seen. And it was the strike challenge. 0.4 nano. Dude,
it's gonna
not be romantic about baseball.
It's gonna be so interesting to see because someone with the elite, like I'm talking about one of the best eyes I've ever seen in my life. Like Soto has one of the greatest eyes I've ever seen. When you have a player like that, that can give you such an advantage.
Yeah.
Like
well,
in the game.
when you go in, because I don't think it is this year. I think it comes into effect in 2026.
Yeah, they're just testing it.
There's going to be a system to it per team, and each team's going to do it differently. There's going to be guys that unless it is egregious, they're going to be like, don't you even think about touching your head, or I will cut your hand off and you'll never play again. I don't think I'd let a single pitcher try and challenge it. As a pitcher, I am not letting a single one challenge it because you get way too emotionally invested in every single one of your pitches that it could be 10 feet off and you're going to go like this. You'd be like, no, that was perfect.
And
like
I feel like
did.
you have, and I feel like a player or, you know what I mean? Like someone that's hitting actually has a feel for where the ball is going.
No, some guys don't even get that option.
Well, no, I'm saying like they have a better idea if it was a striker or ball. With a pitcher, you're literally seeing it, but your catcher has such a great, like with Kirk, the framing with a catcher is insane. Sometimes, like they could steal a call. Therefore, it makes it harder for a pitcher to identify whether that was a strike or a ball. You know. Yeah. But a hitter could, like, you know, they get the plane and everything. You know?
I would say my strategy would be like your catcher gets it, obviously. Your pitcher, don't even think about it. Turn around and look the other way.
Yeah.
Don't even look. Don't even think about even enticing the possibility of challenging a pitch. You let your catcher do it. Your catcher doesn't get to do it until the 7th inning or later. Because I'm not losing a challenge in the first inning off of 5 nanometers. Okay?
Bases loaded, 3-2 count.
Like you are getting, like you're waiting. You're waiting unless it's egregious and like obviously off by like a foot, and you're like, what the hell are we even doing? Certain hitters, Juan Soto, green light all the time, challenge all day long. I don't care what inning you're doing it, challenging all day long. Bo Bichette, not a fucking chance. That guy swings. Teoscar Hernandez, hell no. When you swing at more than one slider in the dirt in an at-bat, you lose the ability to challenge. It's gone. You don't get that privilege anymore. You like Andres Jimenez, probably not. Alan Roden, I probably would.
At this point.
I'm not the first thing as a manager, say you call up Relvis Martinez. The first thing I'm telling is like, don't you even think about putting your hand on your head, or I'll send you right back down to AAA. You have not earned that yet.
Right.
You get that at year 5.
They will give it to somebody like Bo. I don't think they'll take the.
I don't think they're gonna it's like tell people like, hey, don't do it. I just think they'll be like, hey, don't do it in the first 7 innings. Like, wait until later in the game to try and hopefully take it away from some guys.
Yeah, I agree. But overall, I think it's kind of sick. I think it adds so much, and it's been needed for a long time. However, I do think they're going to figure out a different way to implement it faster, because their whole thing is like speed up the game of baseball. It does slow it down.
It does.
And that is a problem.
Overall fast, like it doesn't take more than like 4 seconds, but it is like, I feel like there's a quicker way to test it. I just don't know what that would be.
I don't think they need like
I haven't really like been like, oh my god, we got another challenge. Like, it's not like some of the plays where it's like it takes 15 minutes to get a challenge at like first base. Like, you tap your head and you're back in the box like that, you know? So like overall it's been fast. It's just, I feel like it might be a way to cut it down a little bit. Like the ball trail in, you probably don't need. But like umpires might want to see that just to see how the ball worked.
I think they should have a system where someone's always paying attention, which there probably is anyway, like in New York or wherever the challenge is going to, right? And if they challenge them, just like they have an earpiece, yes, it was a strike, been overturned. You don't need the whole big monitor on the freaking screen. Maybe it's cool, but I think it slows the game down. I think they'll just be like, yeah, that was a strike because they've already seen it.
Yeah. Well, they might, like, I feel like the players would want to see it.
Yeah, but
I feel like they would.
that's not
Because,
needed.
like, if it's 5 nanometers close and you're just going to, yeah, no, it's a ball, you're going to be like, well, bullshit, show me. So I feel like the players are going to at least want to see a screen grab of, like, here's where the ball ended up. Like, this is how it did. So, like, if we rolled into 2026 and this was how the final product was for the ABS, I don't think I'd complain.
No. I just don't know if the MLB in general, like the commissioners or whatever, would like it.
Do you think AJ Hinch went up to Javi Baez and was like, don't you even think about putting your hand on your head? Like, do you think, like, I think that's like the one veteran who just does not get the right or the privilege to use the ABS. He's like, don't fucking think about it.
I think he went up to Javi and before he even said anything, Baez was like, yeah, I know.
Yeah, he was like, hey, he's like, yeah, I know, don't challenge the ABS. And he was like, yeah, perfect, thank you. Yeah. And then, like, Juan Soto probably walked in. They're like, hey, no, man, don't worry about it. You're all good. You challenge all day long.
Yeah, there's certain players that are going to get it. Like,
I do wonder if some players are going to use it to, like, screw with guys. Like, we saw Turner use it to try and screw with Scherzer in spring training. I do wonder if, like, maybe they get a rookie in, like, a playoff game, and you're like, and he's like, oh, that's obviously a strike. And then it goes down the middle, like, oh, I told you it was a strike. And then the hitter's like, you're off your rhythm.
I don't know. Maybe. I never really thought of that.
There's a lot of cool strategies you go with it. Like, say a pitcher's moving really fast and you've used your timeout. And you're just like, sorry, man. I'm on a couple more seconds to think here.
The okay, then yeah.
Yeah. I feel like some guys are just gonna roll by and be like I wouldn't be shocked if a manager's like, hey, we're in the 7th inning and this starter's still dicing us. Call a timeout and then someone do an ABS challenge for fuck's sake.
I'm very interested, and if you don't like it, I mean, you're probably
5 nanometers. How can you not love that?
I think it's just like the purists that don't think the game needs to be changed.
And I do love it.
The same people that didn't like the pitch clock at first.
I didn't like the pitch clock at first, and I will say I'm a big fan of it now.
Yeah.
There was one umpire who was like, they called him, or he like called it, I think it was a ball, and the hitter's a strike, and the hitter's like, no. And then they went through, and it was a strike, and he's like, the call is surprisingly correct. And there was another one. It was on J.P. Crawford today. Pitch at I don't know where it was. It was on one of the edges. I think it was up high. And flips his bat thinking he's just walked in spring training. He's done the spring train walk bat flip. He's a cool dude. Umpire's like, nah, fuck you, strike 3. And he's like, no, let me check. And the umpire was right. That has got to be like a shot of heroin through the veins as the umpire. Where you're like, I'm
doing my job.
I would ring him up again and look him dead in the eyes. Be like, strike 4.
Bro, they are fighting for their job this year. Umpires are fighting for their job.
Yeah.
Really, because they have to do a good job. If this comes in and it's just a better system,
I mean, I don't want automated strike zone the entire time.
Me neither. But
I do love the human error in baseball. I think that's just the one thing about sports that makes sports is the always the possibility of human error any second of the game, whether it's an athlete or an official. Like, yeah.
I don't know. Okay, I agree totally. But with it coming in, it wouldn't shock me if in the future, 10 years from now or whatever, 5 years from now, they were like, okay, this is getting outrageous and it's costing, like, these games are based on like, because there's been umps that have ruined some games, some no hitters, some freaking, things. If they're bad to a certain extent, at what point did they be like, okay, this system is proven like to work?
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say we can't make it a full-time thing? Which puts a lot of pressure on them to be better umpires, which is a good thing in my
I feel
opinion.
like we're gonna see more perfect games and no hitters lost later in the game, because like as the game goes on, an umpire's gonna expand his zone a little bit for a pitcher
Yeah,
who's getting there. Whereas
you're
like
right.
say Max Scherzer's going for a perfect game, and it's the ninth inning, and he throws a 3-2 fastball, and it's to
Mhm.
Jazz Chisholm, and they ring him up, and he challenges it, and it's like 2 nanometers, and it's called a ball, and there goes your perfect game. There would be outrage amongst baseball of like, that's how
Yeah.
you lose it, where it'd be like, I feel like that it's like kind of one of the unthinking about consequences of like, if a hitter does have his challenge there and that's how you lose a perfect game, and it's literally by the hair of your chin,
Yeah.
there would be, I would ring out the ABS system to the media after. Like, I would lose my mind if that's how you lose it. Like, and I think like there's going to be an unwritten rule like, hey, you don't challenge an ABS call and a 3-2 call if it's a perfect game in the ninth inning. Like, I feel like
Yeah.
that's just going to be like one of the rules, like, no, out of respect, you don't do it. Or they're going to say, fuck unwritten rules, they're unwritten for a reason, and they're going to keep doing it,
Yeah.
which either way
Exactly.
works. I just think that would be frustrating to see a perfect
Two,
game lost by a pubic hair.
two's a good number. So
Two's a good
as long
number.
as it doesn't like get overused,
Yeah.
then we're fine.
I yeah, I'd like to see. I think there's going to be calls that are going to be too close to challenge, but I think late in the game, if you have 2 challenges left and you're in the ninth inning, I'd challenge every strike 3 call if it's close. Because either
Yeah, I
you're
mean,
right and you get another pitch and you keep your challenge and it can go to the next hitter, or you're wrong and the next hitter still has a challenge. I don't know, it's going to be interesting.
it is smart.
Yeah.
I don't know. When it's officially in the game, spring training is one thing, but in the game, it's gonna be
Fucking speaking of spring
interesting.
training and baseball and everything,
Oh, that headline.
MLBPA executive predicts lockout. Tony Clark expects work stoppage next season amid new CBA negotiations. He's
But,
predicting a lockout ahead of the 2026 season.
oh,
Did we not just do this? This whole song and dance 3 years ago, 4 years, we just did this.
yeah. We just
We
did this. Yeah.
just did this. And we're going to go back and do it again. First of all, how shit was the CBA deal that it lasted 3 years? I thought it was a 5-year deal.
Yeah. What the heck?
That's concerning.
Very.
Especially if the PA's saying it early. Usually it's like the MLB is like, no, like we're probably not going to sign the deal. If the players' union's like, fuck you guys, it's a bigger issue. Because I feel like there's more of a gripe with owners on players and there's players on owners publicly. So, like, players aren't. I feel like players might not like deferred money as much. I feel like that might go
There.
against it. But like, I
Yeah.
genuinely think we could see like major salary changes at this next one because of what the Dodgers and the Mets more recently, I guess, this past year have done with their payroll systems. That like either we see something good for the sport and we see a salary floor, or you see an insane penalty on salary cap. Like, I don't think there'll ever
I
be a hard cap where it's like, hey, you can't spend over X amount of dollars. But I think there's just going to be enough penalties where it's like, hey, if you're going to spend $300 million, it's actually going to cost you $2 billion. We're going to see
I
tariffs on baseball.
I think it's inevitable, in
I
my
do,
opinion.
I do think a lockout is inevitable. I'm more
No, the
concerned
pay
that,
changes. Pay
or the pay
changes.
changes, but I do think a lockout's inevitable. I'm just more concerned because Last year, there was an obvious middle ground. Or not last year. The last time, there was obvious middle ground. And that was expanded playoffs. Both sides, obviously, like there's mutual benefit. MLB gets another 2 teams in there. There's more money for the teams. The owners get more money because now there's 2 extra teams that can make the playoffs, 1 per league. More chance for players to make the playoffs. There is mutual benefit. I don't see mutual benefit this time going around. Like there isn't a bargaining chip of like, we'll expand the playoffs because I don't think the MLB needs to expand their playoffs any further than what they have. I think 6 each side is
right now.
Perfect. The only other thing owners want is an international free agent draft, and there's no way in hell the players are ever going to go for that. I'm concerned because there isn't a mutual ground that we're going to lose games next year or whatever year this lockout comes. I think it is next year. It should be next year. Like, I'm scared we're going to lose games. And, like, not like, oh, push back a week and, like, you know, maybe the season goes a little bit later into the year. We throw some doubleheaders in there like we did in 2022. Like, I'm talking, like, losses of, like, 30 to 40 games. Like, a month of the season gone.
It's gross. They need to figure it out. There obviously has been a lot of changes and, like, a lot of testing stuff out. And clearly they're not liking something. I mean,
and it's going to be a shorter CBA because Manfred's gone by 20. I think he's gone 27 or 28. So, like, the union's not going to want a long-term CBA if there's just going to be a new commissioner.
Yeah,
that, like,
I agree.
We're probably going to have another negotiation by the end of the decade.
I agree.
Is just...
It ruins it. Like, I think baseball is so stupid in that sense because they always seem to be talking. Like, nothing is ever concrete. It never feels like that. Obviously, different sports do it too, but it's like...
Yeah.
It feels like yesterday where I was, like, thinking, wow, are we going to not get a season, like, out of this? And I think it might be even worse because, like you said, there's no...
obvious like doing mutual ground.
Yeah, there's no fix to this.
Like, players don't benefit from a salary cap. The owners don't benefit from a salary floor. The players don't. The players benefit if there's less deferred money. The teams don't. Theoretically, because when you defer to money, the valuation, like, Ohtani's $58 million is not going to be $58 million in 2070. It's going to be about $10 million. Not obviously that drastic, but, like, the valuation drops. Like, it won't be worth what it's worth by that time. Like, who knows what we'll be paying the top guys in 20 years.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is very scary. But I think there's too much of a drastic pull in their eyes because, like, you see 74 players signing with the Dodgers.
I think the only mutual ground potentially could be an expansion of the league.
I wouldn't mind it.
Like, the players benefit because now there's 52 extra open spots on the major league level. There's another 200 spots minor league level. More talent gets to make the big league level, blah, 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 blah.
It's been talked about before. Like, I wouldn't mind it.
But I'm back in Oakland with a real owner that spends money. And call them the Athletics. Really fucking stick it to them.
I think people would love that. Like, I think, at least for the first few seasons.
Oakland and Montreal. Those are the only 2. I get the other ones. Like, I get Portland. I get Omaha. I get Nashville. I get it.
Big markets for baseball, though.
I'm just thinking, realistically, you throw in Oakland and you throw in Montreal, and if they're in there by 2030, thumbs up, you know? I don't know. I don't think we need expansion, but, like, I wouldn't be against expansion either.
Exactly, yeah, me neither. But if it comes down to it, like, lose games or expansion, Or if like, they can't figure something out, then
just
do
expand
it
the lead
for sure.
I wouldn't be shocked if they talk about shortening the season to like maybe 140 games again. But like
I like 62. I don't know.
I like 162 is so unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
And nothing worse than like a day without baseball, in my opinion. So I don't know. I like it. I don't dislike anything really in terms of the rules, what they've added. Nothing seems over the top.
No.
The bases were like a little crazy at first.
I haven't even really noticed a difference. I'm gonna be.
Didn't they change something? It was like way too bigger.
The bases are bigger, but I haven't noticed anything. Like, it's not noticeable.
No, me neither. But I thought they did it too big and then they reduced it again a little bit, didn't they?
I have no idea.
Anyway, I think that's the only thing they've really like changed since everything.
Yeah, the only thing I'd like to see die: Friday night Apple TV baseball. Bullshit.
Yeah, fuck that.
How are you gonna restrict what I'm gonna watch? How are you gonna? And you know what sucks? The Blue Jays' first Friday night game, game 2 of the year, Apple TV.
Oh my
2 weeks later against Seattle, Apple TV. Who the fuck asked for that? I didn't. I can tell you the Blue Jays didn't. Sportsnet wasn't like, here, please take our games away.
Apple TV just had a bag. Apple TV's the worst too. Like
It was great when it was free. You remember when all you had to do was just open the Apple TV app. You didn't need a subscription or an account or anything. You just watch the games.
No paywall.
That was great. Now they're like, oh, sign up and pay me. And it's like, no.
The broadcasters aren't as good in my opinion.
Facebook games? This was
I
like
never had
2018, 2017. Only reason I started a Facebook account was to watch Blue Jay baseball. We had a game against Kansas City, I think it was, on Facebook, and I watched that in like math class.
Wasn't it like a day game?
Yeah. And then we did YouTube games, which was stupid. I hated those. We had a game on Peacock, I think it was.
I thought there's been one on Prime and stuff.
There's been games on Prime. I don't think we were on Prime. I think the Yankees were.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember at school, like I remember in like the dorm room, I had on my phone, I had the Blue Jays game on, and then we had a game on there's a game on ESPN that I had on my laptop. Then I had like the Apple TV or whatever game on the TV. I had 3 baseball games just ripping. It was great. I was in my prime that time. That was amazing.
Simpler times. But I think they're doing too much with this programming. It's like, stick to your fucking roots.
And it's going to become more prominent because ESPN's done at the end of this year. And I'd rather see more MLB Network games or give me MLB Fox games. But let me be able to watch it on Sportsnet or something. I don't want to have to pay for that bullshit.
Yeah, the paywalls suck. I think it takes away.
I have to go to Stream East. I think Stream East is dead anyways.
You know what bothers me? Some of the broadcasters clearly don't know baseball, and then you get all these stupid probability things. That doesn't matter at all.
I like when they do. It's on base probability, and he fouls a pitch off in an 0-2 count, and the probability shoots by 40%. You're like, what? The count didn't change.
Yeah.
And then he gets on base. There'll be a 3-2 count, and he'll battle off a fastball and be on base probability from 67 to 21. And then the next pitch will be in the dirt, and it'll quickly change to 100% as he's running to first base.
People care about stats too much.
Those are stats that exist, don't matter, and no one cares about.
Exactly.
RBI probability is my favorite, and home run probability is my favorite. Because they'll throw home run probability up, but it won't be on a guy like Vladdy. They'll put home run probability up on a guy like Miles Straw, and it'll be like 0.2%.
Yeah.
I'll be like, yeah, Miles Straw once hit a home run on a day game in July in 2012, and he was 18 years old, and he might do it again today here, folks. And you're like, shut up.
Yeah, instead of doing that, put the bet line on it, so someone
throw the
can
money line. Put your house on up. If you got the guts to put a Miles Straw home run probability up on the screen, put your house on it, Apple TV.
Exactly. But anyway.
And then they do the stupid fucking in-game interviews. I can't stand in-game interviews. You put the headset on Aaron Boone in like Game 3 of the World. So Boone, Game 3 of the World Series. Game 1 and 2 didn't go your way. Game 3, not a good start. What are you feeling here in the fourth inning when you're down 8-0? And you're like, no, leave him alone.
I can't remember what the hell it was. There was a hilarious one. Fuck, I can't remember what it was. Basically, like asking. I don't remember what it. Someone was asking like why someone was struggling or like, and he was just on the field and like it's just like, bro, they're playing. The last thing they want to fucking hear in their ear where they're getting ready for a baseball is like, what sandwich do you order from Subway?
Yeah. So, where'd you get your hair done today? It looks pretty good. What are you thinking now that a 97-mile-per-hour fastball just went by your head? Did you poop?
Hey, are you scared of the trade deadline coming up? Because you might get traded.
So you're on a good team right now. You're playing like dog shit. Are you worried that you might be traded? Oh, you are? Okay, cool. Did you know the White Sox just traded for you? Oh, and now you pulled out a gun.
That would be fun. Like
the only in-game interview would be miking someone up. In-game interviews on managers happen during only spring training and spring training only. You do not talk to them during games that matter. I don't care how useless the regular season game is. You don't talk to them during that. You mic up players, fine. If the team wants to do it or if the player's okay doing it during a regular season game, by all means. If you're not having a broadcaster talk in your ear the entire time while you're trying to play a game that matters, doesn't matter. You interview players and managers during the game, at the All-Star break, and in spring training. That's it. I don't want to hear what Aaron Judge is thinking in Game 7 of the ALCS. I'd rather just see what he does. I don't care what Bo Bichette is doing on a Saturday night in August in Anaheim. I don't care. When it's been a 7-game road trip, you got 2 more, hasn't been a good one. I don't give a fuck. Let him hit.
I agree. It gets them off too. You can tell they're like fucking. They're like, why? Please, just why? But do you think they get like the option to say no?
I would like to think they do. Could you imagine you go up to you like, hey, Mike, and you're just like, no, and you're like, sorry, man, you actually don't have any rights or say in this. You're ours. We own you. I'd like to think the announcers go up and be like, hey, like, would it be cool if we mic you up in the 3rd inning to talk to you? And you're like, oh, yeah, great.
Yeah.
Do you think the players run? Like, they see, like, Buster Olney coming with a mic, and they're just fucking bolting away like Usain Bolt. They're like, wait. Do you want to do an interview in the 7th inning?
Yeah, they prep these.
They have to. But, yeah, dude, as you can tell, very big pet peeve. Yeah, you got me riled up here.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to talk about. Spring training, we lost that a fucking hour ago, I think. But
we rambled an hour and 10 minutes basically here on like what everything is.
Rules.
If you made it this far and you wondered why there was pauses early on, DeeJay had chicken. He didn't get it. It might be dead. It's definitely burnt. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe if you guys are brand new. Shout out to those of you who watched the stream. We had a lot of you who watched the stream. We're going to be back more regularly. This point onward, the regular season is going to be sick. It'll be better if we're winning. And
go Padres.
Yeah. I didn't want to wear a Blue Jay hat all the time. I figured I should bring it up. So I did. See y'all in the next one. Bye.